Hello, my fellow apprentice. I'm Ken, your thrifty apprentice, and welcome back to the studio for another thrifty review. Today we are going to be taking a look at none other than Grumbacher Academy's 10-tube 12-piece watercolor paint set. I sourced my paint set from my local Michaels, as you probably already guessed if you've watched any of my videos before. Let's jump right in. Here we have the packaging. I have already opened mine and been using my paints, so they are going to juggle around a little bit as I show you guys the box. But here we have watercolor printed on the front of the box in 3 different languages. That same thing is printed on both of the top and bottom panels. And then the Grumbacher logo on both of the side panels. The back of the box. This set contains 1 brush, 1 mixing tray, and 10 7.5 milliliter tubes of Academy watercolor paint. Again, listed in 3 different languages. And the colors are swatched out with the names listed. I'll run through them real quick. We have Grumbacher Red, Alizarin Crimson, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Ochre, Cadmium Yellow, Phthalo Green, Cobalt Blue Hue, Ultramarine Blue, Ivory Black, and Chinese White. Let's go ahead and pop this box open and see what we have inside. This 10-tube set. Oh, see, and the tubes are falling out, guys. Yep. Because I have opened this once before. But here we go. Inside the box, there is a number 6 Grumbacher brush. This is an Academy round. Synthetic. Feels really nice. I haven't painted with it because I've been saving and waiting to do this review. But I'm actually going to paint with this brush now. Yes, I will be doing that. Thank you very much. All right, let's look at a tube of the paint. We have the Grumbacher logoed paint tube. This feels to be metal. It has a screw on top. There is no foil covering the opening to the tube. The tube contains the color name, that it is 0.25 fluid ounces or 7.5 milliliters. It is made in the US. And look at there, we have a pigment number listed on the tube. Now, I will be honest, I did not originally notice that pigment number on this tube of paint. It does tell you that the vehicle is gum Arabic, and it also gives you the light fast ratings. So this particular one, Burnt Sienna, is PBR 7, and it has a light fast rating of 1. I don't know if you guys can see that. So these tubes automatically for me fall into the Student Academy grade of paints because it provides you with both the light fast as well as the pigment information for the paint from the jump. This is a good thing. We like to see this on paint. We like to see this on paint. So you do get 10 tubes, and we have gone through the colors, so I won't run through them again. And they also include a mixing palette inside the little set for you, which with the 10 tubes, the mixing palette, and the brush, that completes your 12 tube set. I am not an artist who typically likes to use my paints directly from the tube. So of course I dried the tube paints down in half pans and put them in this little makeshift palette that I have. It's actually just like it was an eyeshadow box that came from Walmart that had some eyeshadows in it. I popped the eyeshadows out and gave it to a co-worker and kept the tin to use as a travel palette. So I just put the paints in a half pan and I let them dry down. So a couple of things about that while I'm on it. The paints dried down really well. They do not crack. I did not experience any cracking. Of course, I did not have to add any glycerin or any honey to the paints. So they dried down really well, and it only took me maybe 2 or 3 fillings to get a full pan, and it still left me quite a bit of paint in these tubes. So I know that I'm going to be able to fill the half pans once, maybe twice more, giving me what, 3 fillings out of a tube of paint, that's actually really, really good. Here are the color swatches that I did from the paints. And I'm not sure if I told you guys, I may have told you in a previous video, I got this idea from YouTube, from several different YouTube artists, to tell you the truth, where when they swatch out their paints, they kind of paint a picture of the art supply itself. So that's kind of how this swatch started out, as a painting of the art supply tin that I'm keeping it in. And as you can see, the colors are absolutely beautiful. And this is weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks past the time that I did this color swatch. And this was I was able to achieve this vibrancy from rewetting and painting with one layer from directly from the pan. So hoorah to Grumbacher for producing some very highly pigmented paints, and for it to be on the student level. Yeah. So here I did some color mixing to see what colors I could achieve that were not included in the set. With this being a beginner set or a starter set, it doesn't contain a violet, which, if you guys know, I think that all beginner sets should contain a violet, but this is definitely not a budget economical set. This is a student academy grade of paint. So at this level, I guess it would be assumed that you're experimenting with color theory and mixing. So that's probably why there's no violet in this set. I'm just kind of guessing there. But I was able to mix a couple of different shades of violet. I was able to mix a couple of different shades of additional greens. I was able to mix a couple of different shades of oranges. I was able to get some other variations in brown. And I was also able to mix a very, very dark, true to black color without using the black that actually came in the set. So again, the paints are they're just hidden check marks left and right. They are transparent and bright and vibrant and beautiful, and they lift while still layering, with allowing you to layer with and glaze without the previous layer lifting, if it is if you've allowed it to completely dry. So, you know, again, hoorah to Grumbacher for the product that they have produced here. I mean, does the paints have any drawbacks? I mean, it just depends on if you're one of those artists who like more control over your paints. If you're one of those artists who like to be able to maybe for your paints not to have so much flow or bleeding ability, then maybe these paints probably are not the paints for you. But I mean, you cannot deny what you see before you. Here are the swatches of the tubes. As you guys can see, I did it in the heaviest capacity at the top of the squares, and then they were washed down at the bottom of the squares. And then to the left of each square, I came back and glazed after that first layer had dried. Again, testing their opacity. Testing their layering and glazing ability, as well as the lightness of the wash I could achieve if enough water was added. So here I put the paints through an opacity test, and I'm gonna lift this up a little bit more so you guys can see it. There is a little bit of sedimentation from each single color on top of the line, of the black line. These paints are definitely semi-opaque or semi-transparent, however you want to say it. The heavier the body of the paint, the heavier the consistency of the paint, the more opaque they're going to be. I discovered that the more watered down the paints are, the more transparent they tend to be. So I guess in that way they are semi-transparent, semi-opaque at the same time. But with all that said, you can still in my opinion, achieve whichever effect you're trying to with these paints. These paints, to me, do not have many drawbacks or many cons. I think the drawbacks and the cons from these paints would come from one's own personal preference on how a product performs. It hits all of the check marks, in my opinion, on everything that the standard artist would want the paints to do, from lifting and glazing all at the same time, depending on how you use the paints. Having the light fastness and the pigment information provided so that you'll know what you're working with, and you're able to reorder at any particular point. I did not run through the pigment numbers for this. To all of my beginner watercolorists and artists who are out there, I think it's very important that we as beginner artists learn our pigment numbers, start to learn the different things that we need to know about the paints that we're using. I mean, because if you take a company like Prima per se, who do not use true tried names and pigment names for their colors, they come up with these whimsical, cute names that they name their paints. It's important for us as artists to know the pigment numbers of these paints so we'll know what those whimsical, cute names are really referring to. So I encourage all of my beginning and fellow artists, and even some that have been in the game for a while, if you don't know your pigment numbers, go ahead and start trying to learn them. I think it's a great thing. Okay, so now this out the way, I'm sorry, back to the paints. I do believe that with their light fast ratings, 1 is the best and maybe 4 is the weakest. And of the 10 tubes that I have here, 9 are rated 1, and only 1, which is the alizarin crimson, which we know is a kind of fleeting color, is rated a 4. So great light fast ratings for the entire box, other than the one that we would expect not to be so light fast. Price point. I picked these paints up from Michaels. They run about $54.99 before you use a coupon. They are typically offering 20% off if you order them at michaels.com. But if you happen to go into the store and you've downloaded the coupon, then on a very regular basis, they are running 40% off of the paints, or 40% off coupon off of one regular price item. Depending on if you catch Michaels coupons around holidays, or if you are a rewards member and you've spent enough money, you can even get 50 and 60% off coupons on a regular price item at different times of the year. So if you hold on to those coupons to then, you can basically get these paints for a little of nothing like I did. You can also source these paints at Amazon. I found 2 different sellers. You can order them Prime for $27.24. Of course, you know, with the Prime order, you get it in 2 or 3 days. I did find a second seller that was selling the paints for $18.96 plus $4.65 shipping and handling, which in all honesty does come out to be a few dollars cheaper than ordering it the Prime way. Jerry's, I did not see them on Jerry's site in a set form. I only saw them open stock. And then of course the other of the big 4 that I typically talk about, which is walmart.com, I found the paints there for $34.12. So in all honesty, the best place of the 4 to get the paints that I was able to find in my research would probably be Amazon.com. Now, beware, with ordering the paints open stock, I saw an average price of anywhere from $3 to a little over $5 and some change, depending on the color per tube. So I do think it is definitely a great idea to go ahead and order the paints in a set form. Royal and Langnickel, hands down, Grumbacher Academy, no question about it. De La Roni, we all know how I feel about De La Roni. I mean, I've tried so many times to give those paints a chance. Anyway, Grumbacher Academy, hands down. Ironically enough, I think Artist Loft kind of holds up just a little bit as far as vibrancy is concerned. But when it comes to performance, Grumbacher, again, hands down. Plus, there is no light fast or pigment information for Artist Loft, so we have no idea how they will last a long time against the sun. Reeves, which is a brand of Winsor and Newton. Ooh. Ooh. I think that Reeves, you guys know how I feel about Reeves. So I still like my Reeves. I still do. I still think that they are really nice paints to work with, especially for the price. I don't think that they really hold a candle to Grumbacher Academy in a lot of departments, but I think as far as vibrancy and richness of color goes, Reeves is still, you know, they still are making a whisper over there. But if I had to choose between the two and I could put a little bit more money with it, I would go with the Grumbacher Academy. Master's Touch and Fine Touch, we won't even worry about comparing those because Grumbacher would win hands down. And now let's compare it really quick to the other student grade, Academy student grade we've actually reviewed, and that is the Cotman. Let's just take a look at these real quick. So these paints both offer something I think really interesting, and that being that they are both really vibrant, really wonderful paints. Cotman, I think, is a little bit more transparent than Grumbacher Academy is. However, I think that Grumbacher Academy flows much more than the Cotmans do. I think that the Grumbacher Academies dry down a little bit better and hold more of a luster after being dry than the Cotmans do. They have about the same light fast ratings. They pretty much use the same pigments to make up the paints. So, and ironically enough, Grumbacher's Cobalt and Ultramarine were both labeled PB29. So I'm thinking maybe the Cobalt is PB29 with some white added to it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that I pointed out that you guys may want to know that. So with that being said, between the two, I personally prefer Grumbacher Academy. I mean, I think that they both offer pretty much the same thing, except for Grumbacher Academy beats out Cotman with flow. And for me, as an artist, that's an important thing. So I definitely prefer Grumbacher Academy over Cotman's, as much as I love the Cotmans. So there should be no question. Yes, I definitely recommend the paints. I recommend the paints over anything that we've reviewed on this channel. I feel like if you can use a coupon, or you can source them from like Amazon or maybe Walmart, where you're spending less than $30 for them, go ahead and save up that little extra money from the $10 and $15 that you're spending on the other paints. And go ahead and get you Grumbacher Academy. It is a very good quality, high pigmented paint, and I definitely recommend it for anyone, being a beginner, novice, an intermediate artist, or even an advanced artist. I think everyone would have a great time with these particular paints. So guys, if you like the information that you saw in this video and you feel like it's going to be helpful with you on your art journey, don't forget to give the videos a thumb up. Go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe so that you can keep up with all of the great content and new reviews that are going to be going up on the channel. Don't forget that the comment section is open for your feedback. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And sharing is caring. Likes and sharing helps grow the community. So please like and share. Head on over to Facebook, like I said, the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page, so you can keep up with the things that we do both on and off camera.